September 28th, Norfolk Parks Board meeting. I would like to inform the public about the location of the Open Meetings Act posted in the council chambers and accessible to members of the public. Roll call, please. Just say your name.
Jerry Rasmussen.
Angie Bailey.
Austin Truex.
Jarrett Mills.
Melissa Temple.
Patrick Gerhardt.
Thank you. I would look for a motion to approve the current business agenda items.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All not in favor, same sign. All right. Looks like, Nate, did you want to start with reports first, then go to fee schedule?
Yeah, are you approving the minutes next, or are you, I'm sorry, where are we on this?
Can we do one big motion for 4, 5, 6, and 7? Or do you want to go singular each one?
Did you approve the minutes? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Is it the agenda or the minutes?
I just did the current business, but we can do each. We can do the minutes, do it all singular, separate.
Yeah.
Okay, so look for a motion to approve the minutes from the last board meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Also look for a motion to approve the recommendation of the Skyview Lake dock design and location. Location is number 4 on the attached map in the back.
I apologize, Jarrett. We'll go ahead and talk about that topic before we approve it.
Okay.
So we'll just go through each topic in order. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and talk about the lake dock design in the location. Let me pull that up here.
Okay.
Okay, so we've been talking with Game and Parks about what options we have for a fishing dock. This is a donation from Mullen B. Kohler, and also known as Jack Kohler, and he donated $250,000 for a fishing dock for youth at Skyview Lake, and he also asked that we put a picnic table and bench near the stage area. So can't spend the full amount on the fishing dock. We have to have some funds to create an area to remember Mullen B. Kohler. So what we have here is a fishing dock design that was recommended by Game, Fish, and Parks. We originally wanted to put some boat ramps on there and some kayak launches and that, but it is their recommendation that you separate the two features, and being that the will specifically says fishing dock, we are looking at just a fishing dock. This would be the layout. It would have 2 gangways from the shoreline for each side. Mainly those are also anchors, which they're used to anchor to the shore as well. The design or materials would look like that right there. That's just a recommendation right now, and we can take other ideas from the board here if we do not like what we're seeing here. But this is a aluminum railing with the wiring there, and also what's that decking called? Composite decking. Yep. So it would be minimal maintenance on the staffing side of that, which is what we like the most. Location, we looked at locations on both sides of the lake. What we found is this fishing dock will go out 50 feet. So you got to look at the depths when you go out. So we want it to go out to deeper water. That's the whole point of having a dock going out into the water. So 3 feet is just not quite enough. So we were shooting for the 7-foot drop in that location, and 3, 4, 5, and 6 would meet that requirement. And that's also a recommendation from Game and Parks as well. I'll quickly show you the other side of the lake. We also looked in this area as well. Again, the depths just weren't deep enough for us in our conversations with Game and Parks. And then Let's see if there was anything else I wanted to share there. Do you have any questions? So what I'm asking the board is to approve the concept and the materials as well, to make so that way when we go to design, we're designing what the board wants to see. I will also show you a scale. I will scale that for you as well if I can find that. I've got it right here. So just to give you scale, that's the size of the duck. So it's kind of hard to see, but hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I would just let the rest of the board know I sat in on the, what you call a subcommittee meeting, is that what we called it?
Selection committee.
Selection committee. So there was a couple designs that was brought forward. A couple of them had the kayaks and where you'd actually get into your kayak on the actual fishing dock itself. We thought about young children running around and not having any type of gate or anything like that. They just potentially run into the water. And with having a specific fishing dock for the Kohler family, this seems to be a more feasible approach. I like the fact that it's on that farther kind of southwest end. Nate, my question is, the games and parks, you said 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 is a little too close to the other dock, the rock dock there, jetty. Did they have between 3, 4, and 5? Did they have a recommendation between those 3?
I was looking at centering it
So number 4.
a little bit further away from that boat dock.
Yeah.
Launch. You really, 5 would be the most centered.
Okay.
Yeah, when I
But-
was up there today, it doesn't look like there's actually a lot of space between the outfitting little hut and the boat dock. But the other thing I noticed is, it looks like on the concept design though it would fit. The 6, so I like how the road goes directly there. I know we talked about ADA accessibility and just being able to drive right up to that circle. It looked like 3, 4, and 5, there's a little embankment down that would have to get leveled out for wheelchair access, I'm assuming.
That's correct. We do have the funds to do some parking lot improvements, and an ADA access would be sufficient for that. So we would be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But in all reality, we should probably do that for the boat launch as well at some
Yeah.
points.
Oh, true.
So we can, when we go to do that, we can keep that in mind as well. We don't have the funds to improve the the boat launch yet, but that's something we can look at in the future.
Would those adjustments, I guess, having it over at 6 where it is more level, would the cost be the same at that location as it would with 4? Okay.
Yeah, there's no cost difference
Okay.
between the locations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have Game and Parks to ask them about 6 here. These jetties are here to catch sediment. So I don't know if that affects the fish life, where on the other side it's not doing that.
Oh, that would be worth considering.
So I'm not 100% sure on that, but we had only talked about this location as being the best location.
Regarding the materials, what is the expected time this dock should last with the current materials?
Boy, composite decking, it's probably more along the lines of the decking needing to be replaced after, say, 15 years. I think about playgrounds, and that's their lifespan is 15 years. This will survive the winters and the ice. It'll be able to stay in. We won't be pulling it out. Barring any damage, it should last a long time. And the only thing that we would need to be replacing is the decking, I'm guessing. I can get that answer for you before we approve a final design.
And I think I talked to you about this yesterday, but I think if it doesn't interfere with the fish life, I think having some lighting on the deck, maybe like solar lighting, footpath lighting, just because people do walk back in the dark, and I think having something there would be good.
Yep.
So would the railings be that horizontal wire?
That's what I'm proposing here today.
Okay. Is that allowed within the city? I know there's been questionable, like with people doing decks,
We would definitely
whether the
look into that,
horizontal
yeah.
was allowed.
Yep, we can look into that.
Okay.
Nate, what's the alternative to a wiring sides like that on the example?
All right.
I just worry about young children. I don't know. I mean,
Yep. Let's look at their gallery.
this example looks pretty good. Like it would hold up, but I just want to double check.
There's this wood look that you see there. Most of it's, this one would be aluminum. These are pre-designed decking. They're, pre-designed, pre-manufactured, and they ship them out, and then the local contractor would install them for us. Let's see if there's any, I don't, just offhand, I could, look for more options and have them send them to us, but
I guess my only, I guess if you feel like it's safe, then I guess I would. You've probably worked more with this stuff in the past, and I've seen more of these wire setups. I just think of safety, I guess.
yep, we will talk with permits with that. So I would just be asking you to approve a concept. This is not a final design.
Yeah.
We would bring a final, this gives me some direction on, there's some things that you have said to look at is the lifespan of the dock, lighting the deck, and then look at the horizontal railing to make sure that's safe. Assuming it's safe, is this concept sufficient for the board?
Sure. So,
Do you expect this to go beyond the 250,000, or is it going to be
No.
well within? Where are we at on that?
We can't, the design that I showed you here with about 5 benches, I believe, would be within budget by $2,000.
Okay.
Is there any seating on the deck itself?
Yes, that includes 5
Oh, you
benches.
said along it.
Yep.
Okay.
And we may even be able to get more by taking the kayak launches out that we took out, so we'll maximize the dollars there.
What was the total, the dimensions of the dock again? The
Yep.
base out in the water?
So 24 feet, it's 25 feet out on the gangway, and then this is a 24-foot across, and I can give you an example. If you go to the other dock here, this one is 40 feet long, 12 feet wide. So it's 24 feet wide and 60 feet long. So it's just more room, more space. It's great for ADA access. There's people can move around on the dock itself. So hopefully that gives a little bit of perspective.
Do you plan to put something for commemorating the donation then on there?
That's correct. We would, yep,
Okay, good.
definitely.
look for a motion for the pre-concept design of the Skyview dock for the Kohler donation.
Make the motion.
A second.
All in favor say aye.
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 All not in favor, same sign. Okay. What would be the date just to see a final concept when that would be approved, Nate?
Well, we didn't get 2 proposals, so we're gonna go out for proposals again to get a second proposal. Once we have 2 proposals, then we would go into designing the final design with our concept. We'll go ahead and submit our proposal with what we talked about today, and see what we get back. And then so that's a 30-day process. Within 60 days, I think we could probably have a design ready.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, we looking for a motion for item number 7 to recommend location of the final takeout for the North Fork Water Trail.
So we don't need a motion. We can go directly into the topic,
Okay,
and then we'll vote after. What we have here is the North Fork Water Trail. This is the Whitewater Park. This is after. Let me get the map up. I'm going to pull this up. It's a little bit easier to speak to it here. Okay, so this is Johnson Park right here, and the Whitewater Park's going to be just below the railroad, and it's going to end right about here at the Hy-Vee gas station. But you can continue to float on down past that location, and right now there's no safe takeout along the route before you get to the flood control. The flood control, the water goes into another drop. It's pretty significant. I would say another 10 feet. It has a grate there, so the water just kind of pushes up against that grate and collects branches and different things like that. So we want to make sure we get everybody off the river before they get down there. They've been doing this for years, so it's nothing new, but because we are promoting a whitewater park, there's going to be more people on the river. We want to make sure that we warn them ahead of time, which we'll have our warning signage all the way until the end. You'll have been warned multiple times. But we need a takeout. This is the city property that we own that is slated to become a park. And with that, so I brought you to the area, so now you get an idea of where we're at here. We are proposing a takeout right here. This is, again, city property. We can't do takeouts along the other side or the other areas because those are private property. So this is the only location. It is a pretty steep takeout. It's a pretty steep embankment right there. You can't see it in the photo. But we're gonna cut out a trail there and a final takeout with a small parking area within the park, which would be a great lead into building our park as well, is to have a parking area for that. I'm not saying 100% to be that spot, but we may move it to the north here, but we would look with engineering on the best suitable location. So a small parking lot in this area and a takeout right here. So the takeout's the only thing I'm concerned about today, in creating some sort of parking. So again, it's not a final design, but it is a final location. We may not design this at first. We may just do a single track trail to come out for those that needed to, and then in the future, if we want to do something more permanent as funding allows, we could do that.
discussion?
I think it's very needed. And the location looks pretty good. Gives you access to most of the trail, most of the river. So, looks good.
All right, look for a motion to approve, recommend the location of the final takeout for the North Fork Water Trail.
Move to approve.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor, same sign. Okay, Nate, did you want to start with the supervisor reports or go to the fee schedule first?
We'll go ahead and do the fee schedule first. Okay. I'll go ahead and review, we'll go ahead and review each of the fees, and I'll let you know which ones I've changed based on discussions that we've had. We took some feedback from our last discussion about this. The main concern that we had was the adult softball league. They were wanting they were worried about the impact they have, and they used to be part of Parks and Rec a little bit more, so it used to be a partnership there, and we've been discussing with them about bringing that back. So that's going to help them out, and we'll get that taken care of. We're looking at an MOU with them to have a partnership with Parks and Rec and with the adult softball league. So our fees would be built into the programming, and so it'd be a little bit different than what we're proposing here today. So that's where that conversation went. We did talk a little bit about maybe some of the fees were for Aquaventure might be a little bit too much. So we brought down the season pass from $275 to $250, and then we brought down each additional person on the group pass from 45 down to 40. So that was some changes that we did. We also were going to delete the group day pass, but we decided that wasn't the best option, and we wanted to keep that. So if you're going to have a group, you're going to pay the lowest price of $7. So if you have 6 people, you'd be paying $42. So if you have 10 people, you're going to be paying or if you have 7 people, you'll pay $49, $7 per person above that. And that's also with the special event pass. So as you're getting into large groups, it's a minimum of $7 to come into the park. All other fees there are staying the same from our last discussion, the pool rental and the swim lessons. The sports fees are also staying the same from our last discussion, $10 per athlete, and then $20 per day per field. And then what we were going to do is eliminate the tournament fees. So in our discussions with them, they use those tournament fees for fundraisers, but usually they're fundraising to pay our fees. So we're discouraging tournaments. So by recouping our fees in the game fees and in the per athlete fees, they're able to have more tournaments and raise more funds to actually pay their fees. So it just makes more sense, and it also makes more sense for the city because we want to promote tournaments within the city. So that's the thought process behind that. Do you guys have any questions on?
You touched on adult softball. Any other discussions with the youth teams in town on what they thought of the fees or how
Yep.
they felt it was going to affect their budget?
Yep, we did talk with them about that. Once we were able to lay it out on what it's costing, most of the averages they're paying $3 per athlete is their total fee for the whole season. We're trying to get it closer to that 10 and 12 and 13, depending on the size of your teams and how many games you have. We're going to be more like $10 per athlete. And so once we were able to, or 12, depending on who we were talking to and how many, like I said, how many athletes they had and how many games they played, it was in that range. I don't think anything was over 14 per athlete. So that's all that we're asking. And then once we were able to show them that, the concerns went away.
Okay.
Yep. Did you have anything to add on that? Okay.
Has there been any more discussion around scholarship opportunities for youth to participate, or pool passes, discounts, things like that?
Yes, we're working on partnering with the coalition to help with lower income individuals or families or senior citizens to help offset costs for programs and rec programs and passes and things like that. So currently we have online, they just need to reach out if that's something that they need to do, and Ron would give them a call back and work them through that process.
I'd like to see, I think, some sort of discount, I don't know, after 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., some sort of like half-day discount at night, or one day a week it is like half price, something like that, where families that can't normally afford the pool, or larger families, still have that one time that it is accessible.
It is currently half price on Wednesdays.
Oh, good,
And
okay.
we certainly can have that discussion if you think extra days are needed or anything like, or any concerns there. And to give you guys an idea on the daily group passes that were sold, it was 14,420 is what we wound up bringing in revenue for those passes. So that's why we decided to keep that on, because it is used.
I could request like a 10% discount option in the fees, so that way we can do a small discount on, we can run promotions, or, at the end of the season, that's a great time to do it because we can get more people into the water park. But I can build that in if you want me to. I even like a 10, or I don't know, give me a number, and we can run. See if council allows us to run a discount every once in a while when we feel it's needed.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I think you also said sometimes there's like dollar off coupons in the paper. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, we also work with the library, so they
Okay.
have their reading program. So
Okay.
that's something that they also give out as well.
Okay.
So there are opportunities there that are in there, but that is certainly something that we can discuss. And when you mention that, maybe we can get it in our brochure if council approves, and add that coupon in there, things like that.
Yeah, I've just talked to some families who I think they're still used to like Liberty Bell pool prices that were much lower, and then this is their only option. And of course, it is a facility that requires more money to use and maintain, but just wanting everybody to be able to have that same opportunity.
On average, how many pool rentals do you do per season? Or maybe even this last season? Do you know how many you did? Like the private parties or whatever you want to call it?
The money brought in was 4,190. I don't have that broken down. I'll give you an example. So let's say Norfolk Public has a group of individuals that are autistic and things like that. They would come in early mornings before we open, and we would charge $5 per individual, and so that they were able to come and enjoy that time without the crowd being there. So we have a lot of partnerships that we work with the schools and other places that come in. A senior center has come in before, things like that. So as for private rentals, after hours, we do get a handful of those every year. It kind of varies on the weather. Swimming lessons go late, so those are only available on Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. So it kind of varies, but I'm gonna say it's anywhere between 5 and 10 would be the number.
Okay, thank you.
The last section that I wanted to discuss with the board, just get some input, was on the shelters. I was bumping these around a little bit, and I think I'll just let you know what we had last month. We had 55 for the shelter house, 45 for the woodland cabin, and I was kind of thinking, going down to one fee, but then the more I thought about it, so each one is kind of uniquely different, and Ryan can weigh in. He knows these cabins better than I do, but the clubhouse has a kitchen and a restroom, indoor restroom inside. The Elkhorn Lodges are probably our most sought after cabin because it's more like a house than a cabin. It's year round as well. It's heated and and it's cooled as well. So is that the only one with air conditioning?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Only one with any heat or air.
Yep. And then, so our shelter house does not have a restroom inside or a kitchen, so that's why it was at the lowest at 35. The Woodland Cabin has a restroom, but it's not rented very often. So, and then our picnic shelters are at 35. So, I mean, are we looking for like a $10 increase? Where would you like to fall in on this? I think, again, we haven't raised these fees in 10 years or more.
Do you have an annual usage for each one? Like how
I
often
do not have those. I do not have those with me.
or a dollar
The
amount?
Elkhorn Lodge is rented at least one day every weekend throughout the year.
The Elkhorn?
And then month of May, they're all rented 3 days a week, or 3 days in the weekend for graduations. It's just kind of hit and miss after.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say once a month, or
Oh, the Elkhorn Lodge is rented.
I mean the other ones, the other?
No, it's probably more.
Okay. I will get those numbers for you.
I'm a little surprised the Skyview stage is that low. Is that because usually those shows aren't being charged for?
I can't answer the question on why it was low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just,
There's no, I mean, with providing power and that's pretty low. So,
I don't think there was a whole lot of cost in putting that up to the city, was there? I think that was all,
It could be
All donated.
partly. So, I don't know if a $10 increase is sufficient for each one of these. I'll make those adjustments. Would that be sufficient for the board? Again, we're not going to vote on fees, so I just need some guidance. We'll bring it back one more time. I just want to make sure we had enough time to discuss it, because all of this is new to the board.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, thanks for meeting with the groups to really understand what their budgets look like, to see what they can afford. I want to, just throw out there too that, with the new Taha renovations that are going to be happening, it's important to have a fee structure to take care of what we have going to the future. If we don't, Taha looks the same for the next 20 years. We don't want that. We want to keep going forward. You're working on a grant, to potentially add another softball field across the way, and just keeping up with the other towns too. That's important, that we have something built in to where keep nice of what we have. So thanks for that. In terms of the other overall fees, I honestly don't have any comment one way or the other. I think everything looks suitable.
if anything, I would say they could be a little higher. I mean, they look reasonable.
That helps. So I'll bring back the recommendations next month. If you're ready to vote, we'll vote on it. If not, we can discuss some more and we can bring it back one more time. We have until December, so, all right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Nate. Head on to the reports from the different departments.
All right, let's see, where do we start here? Go ahead and start with Ryan.
Spent a lot of time last month purchasing the materials for the upcoming projects. We had to get it in the budget, so we've got a lot of stuff sitting there that we're gonna be putting in at some point. Did kind of a big cleanup at Berry Hill. Had to fix the playground equipment. We had some broken things up there and still working on some of that. Prepped Skyview a couple times for cross-country meets. We had to go run the trail and take care of some roots and some other stuff that they were having problems with. But tore down Aquaventure, been working with the guy I've been training over there. Get that ready. We're not winterizing it so much, just tearing it down like we do every fall. Put as much away as we can just to keep it in good shape. There's a memorial bench going on East Bluff. We poured the concrete for that 2 days ago. As soon as that cures up next week, we'll mount the bench and get that taken care of. I think it's been sitting around for a little bit. I guess I'm not sure how long it's been there. We had to move the playground equipment from the street shop. It took us a little time to do that. We had to, anyway, get it out of the street shops area and put it in our parks area. It's no big deal. Begin the bid process for renovating the riverbank downstream from Johnson's Park. Want to clean the bank, put some matting down and seed it so that it's maintenance free. I don't know if you looked at it, but it's a little bit overgrown. Central Park improvements. These are just kind of all in the planning stages. Doing something with the sidewalk, the old brick sidewalk. Either replacing it, tearing it out. We're not sure how that's going to go yet. Upgrading the stage somewhat. Probably put some kind of a mortar and brick fascia on it just to dress it up. Install a border on the playground. I've got the timbers to do that. Just need to find the time now. Replace or put irrigation in there. That's a big project sometime next year probably. I've got all the supplies to repaint the restrooms at the Taha Zuka campground. Just waiting for the campground to either close up or we get a week where it's not so busy. We're still staying fairly busy there this fall, and I thought we would be quite a bit slower by now and we'd have time to get in there, but we just haven't. Planted 14 trees last week downtown in the terraces. The other 10 trees arrived today. Sometime next week we're going to get in there. We got to have streets bust out the concrete, so we're kind of have to work in tandem with them. But that'll happen probably sometime next week, I'm hoping. And then this is daily tasks, all the park maintenance we do every day, and the mowing and the cleaning of the facilities and taking care of the trees we already have in the ground, because we've got planted quite a few in the past couple months, and we still got to water them all at least once a week. So starting work on the Warren Cook playground. I'm gonna try to start on putting that in next week. I've got the prep work kind of done, and that's where I'll be for a while. So
Any questions for Parks?
Were there new materials for the dog park? Did I hear that at one point at Taha?
We don't have any new materials right now, no.
No? Okay.
What, I think we asked for that in the budget, but we did not get approved for that.
Nate, I know there's been some like reshuffling around within the department staff. Just wondering if people could introduce their new.
Yep, we'll go ahead and, I'll go ahead and introduce everybody here.
Perfect.
So that way we know what's going on.
Thank you.
Ryan is the new parks supervisor, overseeing all of our parks throughout the city. So if you're needing anything related to parks, he'll be able to answer those questions. Ron Lemie is here. He's our sports complex supervisor, or athletic supervisor, I think is his title, and he will be overseeing all of our sports fields and working with the sports associations and also in recreation as well. So he'll be touching all three of those areas. And then PJ was here this last month. She's the assistant director overseeing recreation and sports and helping out with parks as well. And we have a lot of things rec related that go both sides. When we have the water park and we have the ice rink and we have Christmas downtown, those are all things that she'll have her hands in. I think that covers everybody. PJ did get an award from the Nebraska Recreation and Parks Association this last week as a new professional in the field, and she's doing a fantastic job, and they did recognize her efforts in recreation, so we're excited about that as well.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and have Ron work on his sports report.
So after we made those changes that we were talking about, one of my first projects was kind of working on creating a master schedule for our staff, and something that would change the mindset of just being thinking about sports fields and some of the weekly and daily things that maybe we need to be attending to. So that was one of our biggest goals when we first started. We still are working for, prepping for practices and games, whether it's at Taha or Memorial right now. Memorial is still very busy with football and soccer games out there. There's plenty that we're getting into there. We're also working on North Pine a little bit. We're just doing some different things out there, moving bleachers, pinning our soccer fields, and making sure we're trying to get that up to the par it should be next season. So been able to put a little more focus on that. If you go to Taha now, you can see that we've been working on removing a lot of the posts out there and putting in new curb stops, and really like the way it looks, and I think it's been a great project so far. We're also moving posts over at we removed some at Liberty, the skate park. We worked with on the Memorial Field, where we worked on seating it, top dressing it, trying to just get it set for the fall. As we're doing that with all of our fields, we're putting the agri line on there, top dressing them, seating, doing whatever we need to do to have them prepped for the fall. We're also working on, like I said, we're measuring and pinning a lot of our areas so we can be set for the spring. So some of that stuff will hopefully go a little smoother when we get there. We're also working on the softball backstop on field 2. We have a group coming in. We're getting ready to drill the holes for that, and new fencing going in the backstop. We're working to get that done very, very soon. Hopefully they can get over here in October and get that started. We got a new American flag for Taha, and just little things that like we're working getting an enclosed water fountain over there. Just little things that we can do to improve, and we'll just continue to do that even throughout the fall and into the winter. We're also working to get an electric locks for some of our bathrooms, strike locks, where you could program them to unlock and lock at certain times to help avoid. We've had some vandalism problems at some of those restrooms, and we think if we can program them to lock at certain times, hopefully we can avoid some of that stuff. So there's plenty of ongoing projects on the sports side of things. So that's where we're at the moment. And recreation is ongoing too. We still have those activities once a week, and actually more. We have some stuff going on. We have skating going on. We have instructional hockey. We have our weekly events with cooking and different things like that people can also get involved in right now on the recreation side of things.
With Nate, I attended the city council meeting, the arts council meeting, where those 2 sculptures were approved for purchase. The NOH discussion, so the Nursery of Hope at Skyview has 69 trees, and they have 5 trees waiting to be planted at Warren Cook. So I'm just looking at a timeline to get those done. They have an event coming up, and they would like to see all of those in prior to that event. So hopefully we can do that for them. As Nate said, we attended the conference, which is always refreshing, and it's a great way to network and meet people in the same field and ask questions and talk with vendors and see new ideas and things like that. And I was honored to receive that award, and wouldn't happen without Nate's leadership and the team that we have in our department. So it's more of a team award, but I'm very honored to have received it. I have the Aqua Venture reports done. Total visitors were 45,030 is what I'm counting, but that is not including the last weekend that we were open. We were fortunate enough to have staff stay on through Labor Day weekend, which most pools were closed the first weekend in August. So it was nice to be able to do that, and thanks to the staff and willing to stay on after school starts sometimes is pretty tough, so that was good. So that weekend we had an additional 751 people. As Ron said, working on rec, trying to grow recreation. It's new and not, the programs we have are new, I would say. And so we're just trying to get the word out more and more to everybody. And we try to get a brochure in everybody's backpack that they can bring home and look through and hopefully consider some of our programs. So we'll keep striving for that and working with Briggs and Barrett on a few projects. One is the garden at Winter Park. We're looking at the next steps for that. They received back a design that they had somebody design, but it wasn't quite their vision. So once they have what they're looking for, we'll get together again and move forward with that process and get that moving for them as well. Tomorrow's the final inspection on the pump track. We have a demo at 11:30 where we have someone on a skateboard and someone will be on a dirt bike, BMX type bike to try it out. So that's very exciting. It is awesome to see in person. So I'm really excited for that and see what kind of program I can work with Ron and see what kind of programming we can get there as well. We did purchase last year a dog drinking fountain to be put at the dog park. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, and we're just waiting for that to be installed.
Any questions for Rack or Sports?
What has been the best way to get the word out there for youth rec? You are partnering with schools? Which is that?
We contact the schools. They have a process. You have to, you get the list from them, and we have to separate it per school, per teacher, per classroom. And then once those are bundled together like that, then you can go deliver those to the schools, and they send them home with the kids. They approve it. Obviously, they read the wording in there and things like that to make sure everything's appropriate, and then they would send those notes home. So that's one thing, and we do that with the parochial schools as well. We try to reach as many people as we can. I'm going to say that Nick Stevenson does communications over here. He does an amazing job getting news blasts out there for us. I'm going to say our Facebook, our Parks and Rec Facebook is growing. The city Facebook page is growing. So I think just continuing to do those things. The radio always does a great job for us on announcing the things that we ask. And we also, everybody that's signed up for Active, once you sign up for Active and you make an account for our online registrations, we then would be able to send messages. So we also send messages that route as well. So that comes across your phone. So those are, I'm going to say all of them are helpful. It's just, we got to find our niche, and I'm not saying I think we're doing good, and we want to continue to grow and get people involved.
The Aquaventure visitors, the 45,000, how does that compare to the last couple years or even to last year?
So last year's numbers weren't accurate. I can give you an estimate of 35 to 40,000 people visited last year, and that is because the old program we had prior to Active that we were using crashed quite a bit, and those check-ins they just weren't accurate. The reports weren't accurate. You can kind of go out in the day and see, well, there's probably around 500 people here, and we would pull the daily tally, and it would say like 211 or 50, something absurd. So we tried to address those issues, but that was part of the reason to move forward to get Active and be able to have that online registration process and be able to have accurate tracking for those numbers.
Thank you.
You said they're doing the testing on the skate track. When is that?
The pump track.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow at 11:30. So Nate has the final inspection tomorrow. So at 11:30, I just have I reached out to a couple people and asked them if they would come demonstrate, and Nick will be there to film it and or take pictures, whichever whichever he's doing, and we'll post that online and get people to come and enjoy that, because that also was a wonderful new addition for that area as well.
Is that something a board member could attend?
Absolutely, if you would like to come, we would love to have you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just had one small. PJ, can you just discuss a little bit the sports field maintenance standards and what that means?
So the standards, we have standards already. I mean, your basic maintenance and things like that. What we're doing is, like Ron was discussing with the AgriLine and things like that. We have lips on our fields, and so we're getting rid of those lips, and we've moved some people around in our department. So we put we have a new foreman under the athletic side, and he is, I'm going to say a turf and lawn guy and sprinkler guy. So he's over there. So just the difference in grass and how the upkeep of the grass for a sports field is different than that of a park. So just like the parks, there's level 1, 2, and 3 parks. The sports fields, we all want them to be top notch, and like Nate and I kind of joke about, we want our sports field to eventually look like Wrigley Field. So I don't know if you saw the picture of the before and after the turf was in, but as you would know, Jared, at Memorial, the grass and the difference in the grass and how often you fertilize and weed and doing it at the right time, and how important those things are, and making sure you're purchasing the proper product and things like that. So the standards for the sports fields, we're just looking to up our game, so to speak, and and Ron and the guys are doing a wonderful job over there, and the curb stops look amazing, and just doing things like that just improving our fields and our facilities where more people will want to come have tournaments here and things like that.
Thank you. I appreciate that being on there. I'd echo what you said too. The standards are important, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and give my report. I'll try not to repeat anything here that was said. I do want to say on the pump track, there will be dirt around there right now. The staff will be putting in irrigation and probably sodding that in the coming weeks. So that's not done yet. It's just the pump track, but we will be able to open it to the public this weekend, assuming it passes inspection and they're good to go. That's tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. Johnson Park bid package number 3 was complete and approved. That was for the structures. That would be the shelters and the amphitheater. Also approved was bid package 1, which is the ice rink and fountain. A lot of these things were held up because they overbid by over 1.5 million of what we expected, and by separating them out, we've been able to come down to our engineers' estimates and within our budget. So that was very helpful. Still getting all the same work done, just more work for staff. But that's all right. We've been pushing that through. We still have one more bid package to work on, and that is for a nature playground, the old gatehouse, and some landscaping and some signage, a few things like that are still coming, and also a second restroom and concession stand over by the sports court. So we will get that going here soon, and we'll get that to council in the coming weeks. I'm getting close. The master plan, we're still waiting on the statistically valid survey. I did find out today that they were over they had to meet 350. They went 50 over that, so they're above 400. So we have some really good feedback, and those are double checked to make sure the address matches up. So people outside, if they got them outside the town, or if a business got them, or they got it at the library, if they sent it in, if they didn't have an address in town, they wouldn't be able to use it. It'd be a residential address. So that still continues. Once that's complete, in the next couple of weeks, we should have the results. We'll open up that survey to everyone in the public, so that'll be coming very soon. She also talked about standards, level 1, 2, and 3. There are levels of standards that we will maintain certain parks. If you go to Aquaventure, that would be a level 1, very, very highly high standard is what we have there, and that would be a level 1 standard where you're mowing twice a week and you have minimal weeds in your grass and so on and so forth. Johnson Park will be in that level of standard. We also have level of standards in the park. So level 2 would be mowing once a week and maybe few more weeds in our grass that we're allowing. But we want to make sure we're meeting all these standards. So this is part of the master plan process. Nothing's been approved or coming to the board yet, but we are working on that. Our sports complex knows what they've already all seen the standards and they're providing feedback. And so when we present that to the board, that will be hopefully bought in by all of our staff. We're going to have one more work session on it coming up. So that's what's going on with the standards there. North Pine and Embrace Park signs have been installed. The Embrace one, though, was installed improperly in the wrong location. They are going to move that for me. That's got to be a little bit closer to the front so you can see it on both sides and not hiding behind the tree there. That is going to be done. We're working on the fees, the Warren Cook Playground. If you want to go out there, he has it staked off. You can see where the playground is going to be. So that's staked off now, and you can get a good idea. Taha Team Lockers, we have approved Huff Construction to move forward in negotiations. I got to get with the Northeast and also with the Norfolk Public Schools to bring the team together and start working on those negotiations as a group. And we will, it's on my list. I'll get there this week, I think, to get that going. So, and the last thing is just the national conference is coming up in October, so we'll be attending that. I don't have anything else. Do you have any questions?
On the Whitewater Park, what's our timeline for getting water flowing?
It's a moving target, and last I heard, we should be testing those last 2 features in October. And once that is complete, I think we'll look at where we are with the park itself. I want to make sure we don't want to have construction going on and have people going underneath a bridge that's being installed. So we want to make sure that bridge is done and all the work to the south is completed, and then we can get that river open. And it's all happening this month, and so things are going to come together fast. But we'll see. Every time I say it, it gets delayed for some reason. So. Hopefully by the end of the month of October, we'll see water flowing, but I don't know for sure.
After that, will water flow through the winter, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, if we're able to keep it on, yeah, it would just run through the winter.
Okay.
Yep.
To answer your guys' questions on those cabins, just for this year, January through September, the clubhouse was rented 57 times, the Elkhorn Lodge 87 times, the shelter house 36, and Woodland 24.
Thank you, Jen. Any other questions?
Questions, discussion? Not any more discussion. I would look for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, same sign. Meeting adjourned.